added a few new things to the collection, so I wanted to show you what they are. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is another sort of, we'll call it a light haul, right? Like, I don't buy a ton of stuff outside of my weekly pull list anymore. But as I add things to the collection, every now and then, sometimes there's a common theme, or they're just cool things that I just feel like you gotta see. I gotta show these things to you. So, a couple of things I've grabbed over the last couple of months, I'm gonna show you in this video. And one thing that I don't remember if I showed you, so I'll grab that as well. So, before we get into that, quick update for those of you following along my reading progress. Marvel sent me some trades to review, and I have been making my way through them. I read Blade by Brian Edward Hill and Elena Casagrande, and I read Punisher by David Pepose and Dave Wachter, and both were awesome. You'll find those reviews in the community tab of the channel. And yeah, read those. Next up on my list to review for Marvel is going to be Spider-Man Reign by Kari Andrews and Captain America's Stand by J. Michael Straczynski. Art by Jesus Saiz on Captain America, and Kari Andrews does this whole thing. So, cool stuff. Anyway, now that those are out of the way, I just figured you might want to follow along my reading progress. Stay tuned to the community tab, or even better, subscribe to my newsletter, thisweekincomics.com, and I usually give a little bit more raw thoughts there. So let's talk about some things that I added to the collection recently, starting with this is a poster that I grabbed from J Hero, and this, I should take it out of this sleeve. Can you see? Can you tell I haven't unpacked it yet? Now that I've broken it free from its adhesive prison, let's take a look at this print. It's an art print from, like I said, an artist named J Hero. And this is Storm in her animated series outfit. And as you can probably tell, let's make sure I'm getting the lights catching it. I don't know. It's got gold foil accents. So no matter what, this, all right, here we go. So you guys can see that it's like it's shimmering. The gold on her outfit or her costume is shimmering in the light. And so that was what made me want to grab this. This is an 11 by 17 piece, if I'm not mistaken. So 11 by 17, 18 by 24. It's the same size as most of my art prints. I think 12 by 18. That's what it is. 12 by 18 or 11 by 17. One of those two is what this is. But anyway, there's a Storm in her animated series Get Up. The voice actress that plays Storm in X-Men, the animated series in X-Men 97, was at Heroes Con, and I thought about bringing this to Heroes Con to get signed by her. I just didn't trust myself to keep this in great condition on the road, so I didn't do that. But this came in a little while ago, and it is going to replace Spawn on my wall back here. So you can see Ninja Turtles right there. If I move the camera just a tad, oh, you have to take my word for it, but that is Spawn right over there. Anyway, I'm going to be replacing Spawn with Storm. I really love this Storm art print. And the reason I didn't have one before, right? Like, Storm is one of my favorite characters, probably top 3 at Marvel for me. I don't know, she just appears regal all the time. Every time you see Storm, she's regal. Now, what's funny about this print is it's kind of dark. Like, you kind of lose Storm in here. If it wasn't for that gold foil, you might not even know who it was at certain points. Well, that in the white costume. But anyway, Storm is one of my favorites. The problem with Storm is often depicted in her more revealing costumes, which is cool. That's just not, I mean, if that's your bag, that's your bag. It's just, I don't know, man. John Byrne just liked to draw Storm naked all the time. And I'm like, we can appreciate this woman without just objectifying the woman. Anyway, I feel like that's an issue with comic characters in general, but that's an aside point. The point is, X-Men or Storm's 97 or 92 animated series outfit, as designed by Jim Lee, uh, to me, is just happens to be one of my favorite depictions of her. I do like the black suit variant. I liked how she looked in X-Men Red, most recently as well. Anyway, a lot of cool looks to Storm. Another thing that's really cool is, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but this Storm has micro braids. She's got, it's like a French braid around the front, and she's got braids like swinging to the back. I don't think I've ever seen Storm with braids. So, we've seen Mohawk Storm, we've seen big curly 80s hair Storm, but never seen this hairstyle. So that's really cool. J Hero does really, really cool art of these superhero characters. He's got a super Static Shock and Miles Morales team up piece that I like a lot. Anyway, be on the lookout for that dude. He's got a Far Sector piece. He's got Green Lantern, John Stewart stuff. A lot of black characters that you may not see get the poster treatment. They get the poster treatment from J Hero. So shout out to J Hero. I bought this directly from his online shop, and I'm glad it's here. That gold foil really sets it off. He's got a lot of prints with like gold foil or lenticular design, stuff like that. So anyway, first thing I wanted to spotlight, and now I got to figure out how to prop this up without it falling somewhere. That's cool. You can't see it, but the gold is like reflecting there. I can see it from here, but the angle's not gonna. Anyway, that's the first item that I added to the collection of the last couple of months that I wanted to show you. The next one is actually a book. You're like, where are the books at? This is kind of a book. This is the Sketched Book 2023, written by David Harper. David Harper is the proprietor of Sketched.com, which is probably most notable for being the home of Off Panel, a comics interview podcast. I had the pleasure of having David on the Comics Are Dope podcast about a month ago. And he was, I was asking him about his journey, was giving tips to podcasters. We had a really cool conversation that he gave really high praise. I'll brag on myself by way of David. He said it was the closest he'd been to being a guest on his own show. And that's high praise to me, because for my money, David's probably the best interviewer, journalist in comics. Anyway, David does these long form pieces. Sometimes they're editorial, sometimes they're opinion. Sometimes it's like, hey, let's do like an oral history of Executioner Song. Let's talk to all the people that brought it together. He did a year-long series of interviews with James Tynion IV. Anyway, each year he does what's called the Sketched Book, where he takes some of his favorite pieces of writing and features from the website and prints them into a book so that they'll be in print forever. There's a Kieran Gillen interview in here. There's a Rick Remender interview in here. Let's see, what else is in here? Who's there still? Oh wait, it's Rick Remender, not Kieran Gillen. The Art of the Page Turn, the story behind the X-Men Pizza Hut promotion. Nice, cool oral histories. Some pages in color, most pages black and white. Really cool stuff. Anyway, the Sketched Book. These go on like a limited short run press thing every year, and I had to grab mine to show support for my mentor in my head. So there's that, and only got 2 more items to cover, so let's go ahead and cover them. So last month I interviewed Joe Illidge. Joe Illidge, a longtime comics editor. He started as an intern at the original Milestone Media, ended up in the DC office where he edited No Man's Land, in the Batman office. He has moved on to Lion Forge. He's done work at Valiant. He's done a little bit of everything. Right now, he is helping to shepherd the Epiphany Engine, one-shot graphic novel event, bringing together all sorts of independent Black publishers in ways that we have not seen in at least 30 years. And the last attempt at something like that, besides Milestone Media, which is different, was probably a little known company called Ania. Ania, or it was not actually a company, it's an association of Black comic book publishers. We touched on Ania briefly because Ania was it was controversial. We'll say it that way. We touched on it briefly in the interview, but that made me want to do a deep dive into the actual comics. Sometimes we learn the history of a thing, and we never really study the thing for its artistic merit. And so I had to go on eBay and rectify the situation. So I grabbed a bunch of Ania comics. Ania doesn't stand for anything. In some schools of thought, it's a Swahili word that means like to protect or defend. In other schools of thought, that's just nonsense, and they just came up with a name so that they'd be the first name in the phone book in the section. Anyway, this is a stack of Ania comics. Perhaps the one that I had seen the most prior to actually doing research is this one. This is Purge. Purge, written by Roosevelt Pitt Jr. Basically a sort of anti-hero type figure fighting. Well, actually, he's actually a hero. He's got the ninja side like Raphael from Ninja Turtles, and he's a big hulking dude. He kind of looks like Icon a little bit. It's funny. Ania Comics actually launched at the same time as Milestone. In fact, the first mention of Ania is in Wizard Magazine issue 18. And in Wizard Magazine issue 20 is where we got the big announcement of Milestone Media. So very much contemporaries. We know what ended up with Milestone. Milestone's still going strong today. Ania, not as much. But I'm going to do a deep dive into the Ania comics. That's why I decided to grab these. So can wax poetic later about Ania and the merits of some of these books. Next one is Ebony Warrior. June, July 1993, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, Ania was supposed to be like super Afrocentric, outspokenly Afrocentric in ways that Milestone didn't necessarily intend to be. And all the press that you'll find about Ania was Ania like punching up at Milestone in a sense. Like, hey, we are the real Afrocentric voice in comics. This one's probably the most controversial of all the Ania releases. This is Zwana, son of Zulu. And this dude is like a descendant of Shaka Zulu. He might be his grandson, if I remember correctly. It's written by Nabil Haj, who like stood on top of like the Georgia State House and flung these comics at people, apparently. Was it the Georgia State House? Anyway, I don't know. I'm going through history that I said I was going to do in a separate video. Point is, this book definitely has like some weird like homophobic themes in it. I thumbed through it. Probably does not hold up well at all. But it's a thing. It's a piece in history. Next is, and last that I grabbed, was Heru, son of Alsar, which originally was titled Horus, son of Osiris, but it was sort of repackaged when Ania launched. This one is written and drawn by Roger. This probably has my favorite art, by the way, of all of the Ania books. But Roger Barnes, there we go. No relation to Rodney Barnes, I assume. But really like the art in this one. All of these Ania books came with a trading card. They were at least big enough to have like real ads on the back. You see these video game ads for Roger Clemens MVP baseball and George Foreman's knockout boxing. Anyway, those trading cards, by the way, drawn by none other than Savage Dragon creator Eric Larson. So this company was on track to be like the biggest black publisher of all time, and then Milestone came out, and then they kind of shot themselves in the foot with some of their interviews and stuff. And honestly, these issues are pretty much all there is to Ania. Ebony Warrior did get one more issue. I don't have issue 2 on hand. And anyway, the point is, I wanted to read these books. I'm going to review these, and I'm going to do a whole separate deep dive on Ania later. This was just, I wanted to show you that I got them. And in that same lot on eBay, this came in. This is Old Blood. This is a parody comic by, is it Joe Chin? Parody comic is by Don Chin and Russ Sever. I am fully convinced they just wanted to like trick people who were buying Image comics into grabbing a book. Like they did a few of these different like it's got Brigade on the back. Um and yeah, it's just straight up cover swipes. And on the interior is, an actual story. It's a parody comic. Their company was called Parody Press Comics. They even took the image I and wrote Spitting Image as the name of the company. So funny stuff. I gotta really angle this so you can see better. I'll get a different light in here eventually. Anyway, this came in the same eBay lot as the Ania comics. I don't know if they thought they were the same thing or what, but fun relics of a time long past. And those are it for the single issues that I grabbed. I did grab one collected edition, and so I'll show you that. This just came in Monday, but this, finally, is Miles Morales Spider-Man by Solid and Ahmed. Now, this I would not have gotten if it wasn't for corporate America. Corporate America has its perks. As much as I wish all I had to do was sit and talk to you guys about comics all day and make money, that's not the case. I still got to work a day job, but every now and then that day job will give us Amazon gift cards for existing or doing something cool for a friend or whatever. So I turned those Amazon gift cards and a nice little Prime Day deal or Prime Week lead up deal and grabbed this on Amazon for free. It didn't cost me anything. But this is Miles Morales Spider-Man by Solid and Ahmed. Technically, it's volume 3. In Miles Morales, there was the Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus. Then there was the Miles Morales Spider-Man Omnibus collecting the 2016 series. And then this followed up directly after that. This is the 2018 Miles Morales series, if I'm not mistaken. Ran all the way up until 2023, maybe into 2022. And now we've got the Omnibus. This was directly followed up by the Cody Ziegler run that started last year. And quite honestly, I read this from about issue 18 up through about issue 27. Wasn't blown away, so I wasn't picking up this run, except for the Torrin Clark covers, which brings me to the elephant in the room. The reason I did not own this omnibus was because the direct market variant by Torrin Clark sold out, and I refused. I refused to pay money for this cover. You don't judge a book by its cover. I typically am not like, I gotta have a specific cover. But I specifically did not want this cover, and I'm gonna end up getting like a custom dust jacket or something. Listen, artists have things going on. This is no disrespect to whoever drew this cover image. This was a Black History Month variant cover during the original series run. And I wasn't a fan of the cover on the single issue. I was surprised this got picked over some of the other covers and variant covers for the main omnibus. But all that to say, I'd rather own the book than not own the book. And to own it for basically free, hey, that's even better. We can deal with the dust jacket later. Solid and Med's a perfect fit for Miles Morales, according to AIPT Comics. We'll see about that, now won't we? And that's the haul. That's all the stuff that I've added to the collection over the last couple of months that I feel like you need to see, except there is one last thing. This is a DC Universe Justice League Unlimited 3-pack of action figures. I think they're, what are they, 3.5-inch action figures, small action figures. We've got Aqua Girl over here. We got Micron over here. But obviously the draw of this for me is Future Static. Future Static right there in the middle. If you remember the Justice League Unlimited episode entitled, was it Epilogue? There were 2 episodes where they kind of go into the future. And in the future, what you find that is canon to Justice League, the cartoon, is that Static ended up being like the greatest hero there ever was. We actually got a play on that in the Milestone 30th Anniversary special. They did a Static, or Nick Draper Ivy did a Static Beyond story where Static teams up with Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis. Anyway, this is what Static looks like in that future. He's old, he's grizzled, he's still got the dreads, he's got the classic sort of animated series jacket, um, but he's an old man. So old man Static, old man Virgil is here in this 3 pack of toys. I got lucky and found this at Walmart or on Walmart.com for only $30. This technically is the first Static action figure if you don't count the Subway Happy Meal toys that came out back in the day. This predates the DC Icons Static that I got over there um, by a few years. But anyway, I'm so glad that I have this in the collection. And I decided to keep it in the box because this whole box, you know, just represents Dwayne McDuffie's legacy in a way, the animated stuff anyway. So for my milestone collection, DC Universe, Justice League Unlimited, Future Static 3 pack. And that is the haul. Those are all the things that I grabbed in the last couple of months that I felt like were worth mentioning. And hey, let me know what you're picking up lately. What are you looking at, like, outside of your weekly comic buying habits? What are the things you're like, I gotta fill in my collection of Aquaman, or I really gotta find this action figure somewhere? What are the things tickling your fancy? Let me know in the comments down below. Join me in our Discord server or on Facebook to share your progress, your status, your haul videos and pictures, if you will. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.